Notes 2A, Possessive Adjectives. Objective 1, to learn, memorize, and use the 3 possessive adjectives introduced in this chapter. Objective 2, to identify a rule for the proper gender of a possessive adjective. Objective 3, to learn 5 ways to translate suis a You do not need to take notes. You will know if you can have understood this material if you can do the last 2 groups of exercises. Long term, this material will of course be part of completing the writable stories. In this chapter, we introduce 3 possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives are one way to indicate possession, and this is the first way. The other way will be the main one, but this is the lesser one. There are 5 possessive adjectives, and in this chapter we will learn 3 of them. The first one is my, meus, mea, meum, then your, tuus, tua, tuum, and lastly, suis, sua, suum, whose translation is a little bit problematic, and we will handle that later. Okay, let us complete objective 2, which was to identify a rule for the proper gender of a possessive adjective. Okay, this is going to be a problem because we are not used to it in English. I would like to introduce a dilemma. Suppose this lady here wants to present to you her son. Should she say filius mea or filius meus? Which is better? This is a dilemma because there are 2 possible rules that we might follow to determine what she should say, and each rule gives the opposite answer. The first rule 1 is the same rule that you learned in the previous video, from chapter 1, that adjectives must agree with the nouns they modify in case, number, and gender. If we followed this rule, then she would say filius meus, because the 2 endings would match. The other possibility is what we are more used to in English. According to this possible rule, the gender of a possessive adjective should always be the gender of its possessor. Since she is feminine, we should say her son, or, well, my son. And so we would say mea filius, with the mea indicating that she herself is feminine. So which rule is correct? Is it the first one, or is it the second one? It's the first one. The first rule is correct. This is going to be problematic because we are not used to this in English. Even though she is feminine, she should say filius meus, not mea. Therefore, we can remove that, and there's our answer. In fact, it does not even matter if she said it or her husband said it. They would both say meus, simply because filius ends in us, and so the us match. All right, well, what are the implications of this? Therefore, first, there is no connection between a possessive adjective's gender and possessor's gender. There is no connection. I can say her car, and it will be suis, simply because car is masculine. Similarly, I can say his water, and it will be sua, simply because water is feminine. Likewise, I can say their car, and it will still be suis, even though the owners are plural. And I can say his lands, and it will still be plural, even though his is singular. What this means, of course, is that suis can mean her, or his, or its, and the best meaning is none of these, but just a genderless one's, or their. And even that is slightly insufficient, as that might convey singular or plural. So even a better translation than that would be something completely amorphic, like yonders, because yonder might refer to a him over there yonder, or a her over there yonder, or a whole group of them over there yonder. So a possessive adjective beginning in su may be translated in any one of these ways. So I'll just take a random one of these three. Sua. Translated his table. It could be translated her table. Could be translated its table, their table, or the best translation, because it gets the possessor's gender out of the way, as well as the number of possessors, whether they be singular or plural, is one's table. One's table lets you know that it's merely a third-person possessor, not a first person like meos, and not a second person like tuus. It's only a third-person possessor, so it could be he, she, it, they, it, any of those. You won't always be able to use ones because the sentence would sound crazy. So be aware that you can use any of these 5, but just know that the true meaning of sua is closest to ones. It's not really his, her, its, or any of those. Okay, let's do some examples then. Hopefully you've understood this. First off, some true-false. If I am a man and I say meos philia, was that grammatically correct? Well, following our rule, adjectives must agree with the nouns they modify in case, number, and gender. I look at that and I see that's meos is a masculine, philia is a feminine, and to agree they should be the same gender. So the correct answer is no, they don't agree in gender. That was grammatically incorrect. I never want to see meos philia on your paper. All right, well, let's try the next one then. I'm a man and I speak of mea philia, my daughter. Is that grammatically correct? Yes. You might want to stop the video and try these on your own. If not, I'll do them on my own. You're a woman and you say your daughter to a filius. No, that was incorrect. Next one. If I speak of his son, suis filius, is that correct? Yes. Suis can mean his. If I speak of her son, suis filius, is that correct? Yes, suis can mean her. What if I speak of their son, suis filius, is that correct? Yes, suis can mean their. So we're finding that suis can mean a lot of things. What if I speak of his sons, sui filii? Is that correct? Notice his is singular, but sons is plural. Should we have a singular here? No. All you have to be worried about is that sui agree in case, number, gender with filii. The two endings should match. Okay. I speak of her sons. Is that correct? Yes. Sui can mean her. So suis can mean his, and sui cannot mean his. And suis can mean her, and sui can mean her. All right, well, following the pattern, sui can mean there, just as suis could mean there. What about I speak of her sons? Is that grammatically correct? Sui filii. Yep, that's correct. If I speak of her sons, well, hopefully by now you can just look at these and see they're not the same gender. So no. And here, they don't even agree in number. So that was singular and that one was plural. So there's 2 reasons that one is incorrect. And then if I speak of their son, sui filius, no, that is incorrect because this one was plural and that one was singular. And a noun and its adjective better agree in number, case, and gender. All right, here's our second exercise. We'll take a sample possessive pronoun like meos, mea, meum, and we want to notice that it will change in case if its noun changes in case. We haven't used any of these other cases of meos. We were just using the nominative case. But here we'll use the ablative case or the genitive case. The rivers in my Italy. You would say Italia mea. They rhyme. This is going to get really easy. If you like rhyming, this will get great. Any phrase should rhyme, basically, as of this chapter. Now, once we get into the third declension, that'll change. Or it'll also change if you have an unusual ending like wife, my wife. This is grammatically correct because that's feminine singular and that one's feminine singular. Yeah, we'd have to take out all the start. But ux or mea, they don't rhyme, but they're still grammatically correct because they follow the rule. Okay, my daughter is in your town. Filia mea, is in nominative case, is in your town, ablative case. Haha. Let's look at some genitive uses of tuus and meus and suis. If you haven't watched the next video, you will not be able to do this because you do not know what the genitive is. So you might want to just skip this section and come back to it after you have watched the next video. But if you want to jump ahead and are gutsy and want to see if you can do something, well, this genitive case always is introduced by of or apostrophe s. So the genitive means of or apostrophe s. And it has its own set of endings that you haven't learned yet. They're either E or I, and there's some more E's, so these are all genitive endings. My son of my second husband. Meus filius, singular, of my second husband. Mei secundi mariti. So my son, nominative of my second husband, where all the endings are genitive. Emily's, genitive. Third husband's, genitive, genitive. Daughter's, genitive, name. And we can reverse these. This last example down here is the mirror image of the one right above it that you just did. So name, I was at the end, now name is at the start. The name of the daughter of the third husband of Emily. That's pretty easy. So you can use these possessive adjectives in any case, nominative, genitive, or ablative. All right. Here's the last part. Now it's up to you to fill these in. You may wish to stop the video and try them out on your own. If not, I will expose the answers in a few seconds. Your sons are on my island. Filii tui sunt in insula mea. Number 2. Many towns of yours are on their river, are on river theirs. Number 2. Multa apida tua sunt in fluio suo. Lastly, King my king, is not Caesar, but is your husband. Rex meus, my king, is not Caesar, but is maritus tuus, your husband. So hopefully now, let's go back and look if we've accomplished our objectives. Hopefully you have learned 3 of the 5 possessive adjectives. They were meus, tuus, and suis. Hopefully you can identify the rule for the proper gender of a possessive adjective. It should be the same as its noun regardless of the gender of the possessor. And hopefully you have 5 ways to translate suis a They are his, her, its, theirs, and one's. Walete.